Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and everybody in between, welcome to a special Fantasy Hurling edition of the Jake Botel Sports Experience. Gonna run you through my team selection, my first team selection for Fantasy Hurling 2022. I've included the link to the Fantasy Hurling competition uh, website in the description of this episode. Cost me £10 or €10, $10, whatever it was, to sign up for a team. So you can go and do that too if you want to. This is how a novice fantasy hurler went ahead and selected his team. I got to pick a manager and I had to go with Brian Cody. Managers win points for wins. So 10 points per win, I think it is. Had to go with Brian Cody. I think that Kilkenny stands as good a chance as anyone to get a huge amount of wins, particularly in the Leinster Hurling Championship phase. So I've gone with Brian Cody as my manager. Then it was on to goalkeeper. So I was trying to think which teams I back to concede the least goals, the least scores. So I put Owen Murphy, the Kilkenny goalkeeper, in goals. I really back Kilkenny to be a good defensive team and to not give up many goals. Then it was on to the defenders. Now, I'll say this about playing fantasy games. I was really into the NFL, for a good couple of years before I started playing fantasy. And what I realized playing fantasy was it allowed you to build a better understanding of team rosters, different positions at a greater depth all around the league than what you would otherwise perhaps know, because everyone goes for the name brand stars. So you've got to have a look a little bit deeper and try and find the value. It gets even more complex when you start playing fantasy games that include defenders. A lot of NFL fantasy doesn't include defense. It's just, the players on the offensive side of the ball. So what's cool about fantasy hurling is I've got to pick defenders. I have to pick 6 defenders. So I'll be honest, like some names stuck out to me that I knew. I'm far more au fait with attacking hurling players than I am with defending hurling players. So I'm really excited about this opportunity to deepen my knowledge of the different panels and players that play on the defensive part of the park. So my philosophy here again, fill with Leinster players. I feel like the Leinster Championships the last few years have been a little lower scoring. That could be total bull. But just it seemed to be a little bit of a pattern. So I tried to fill my backline with captains. So I've got Connor Prunty of Waterford. I've got Ronan Marr of Tipperary, Dowie Burke of Galway, Declan Hannon, and Owen O'Donnell. 5 captains in my backline. I've gone with Geroid McInerney from Galway, someone who I'd watched a little bit of. And a player too who plays on a Galway team that I don't think are going to concede lots of goals. Midfield was tricky. Trying to find value there with players who would be scoring points, and also keeping in mind that I could only have 2 players from each team. So that's another little twist that I like on this fantasy competition. I ended up going with Dara Fitzgibbon of Cork, a player who I've actually watched play quite a bit, particularly this year's league, and Diarmuid O'Keefe for Wexford. I've watched a fair bit of Wexford as well, and both of those names stood out to me. I wanted to make sure I got a Wexford player in as well. I did think about putting Mark Fanning in goal. I just thought Kilkenny had a better chance of conceding less scores. So Diarmuid O'Keefe, my solo Wexford player so far. Dara Fitzgibbon, the first of my 2 Cork players. So that's my midfield. All right, my forward line. So I had to go with a Tipperary man. I went with Jason Ford, got him into the side, liked his league campaign, liked his championship campaign last year. TJ Reid. Can't go past TJ Reid for Kilkenny. Aaron Galan. He's only played 23 championship games and he's already, I think, 32nd in all-time championship scoring or something like that. He's working his way up those charts. Tony Kelly played some great hurling against Tipperary last season, and a name that I'm very, very familiar with. So Tony Kelly. Stephen Bennett, loved his league campaign. smashed in, I think he smashed in 8 goals in the league campaign this season. So I liked Stephen Bennett as part of that Waterford attack. And I finished it out with Patrick Horgan of Cork, who racks up scores. So that's my forward line, and that's my team. Owen Murphy down back, Connor Prunty, Ronan Marr, Dottie Burke, Geroid McInerney, Declan Hannon, Owen O'Donnell as my defence. 5 captains out of my 6 defenders, for what that's worth. Dara Fitzgibbon and Diarmuid O'Keefe are my midfield duo. Then Jason Ford, TJ Reid, Aaron Galan, Tony Kelly, Stephen Bennett, and Patrick Horgan are my forwards. And I've got Brian Cody as my manager. No idea how I've done. I guess we'll see once the competition starts. I might have made an absolute balls of it. Let me know where I've absolutely ballsed it up. Give me some positive feedback as well. That'd be nice too. Build the confidence of the newbie. So you can check out the Hurling Fantasy 2022 website with the link that I've provided in the comments as well. Seems like it's going to be a lot of fun. And I'll probably keep you updated with little Hurling Fantasy episodes as I go through the season. Let you know the fortunes of the Jake Botel Sports Experience Fantasy Hurling squad. Until next time, guys, thanks so much for watching.